Hello, it's Diane. I recently received some flowish journals from the swaps on Trashy Junk Journals. Actually, I only joined in one of the organized swaps, but two of my junk journal friends invited me to swap with them, or I invited them, or somehow we got involved in one-on-one swaps with each other. So I've had three swaps for flowish journals, which is just a journal that contains images or pages and supplies that you can just take out and use because they're not tied in. So you're supposed to use the supplies in your other projects. This was the cover of one of the flowish journals, and I loved this cover. This was from Jill Robertson, and I loved this cover. So the only thing I did to it that changed it at all was I created a spine, because it's made out of a folder. So it's just a little bit narrower than it was when Jill sent it to me, because I made a 1-inch spine on it. And then I added this little embellishment that had come on one of the packages that someone sent. And so this is, otherwise it's just the way Jill made it. So I'm just going to go through. It has two signatures that I stitched in, and everything in it, almost everything in it, came from the swaps, and they were Jill Robertson, Susan Broussard, and Dawn Calvin. And other things, I did use other things that people have sent me. I know Lee Pogue sent me some things that are in here, and other people have sent me things. So if you've sent me things, then you may see some of those things in this book. I supplemented with just a couple things from my stash, but mostly it's things people gave me. Even the washi tape that I used were pieces that someone else had sent me. So I put this, what do you call this, embossed cardstock on here, and this playing card fit in the center of that perfectly. I love this little heart-shaped paper clip. Right now it doesn't have a purpose, but I can use it in the journal when I start using the journal. This was from my own stash, K & Company ledger paper. This was a piece of Trader Joe's advertising. Someone sent me several pages of that, and I used a lot of it in this journal. I love that. I got online. I don't have a Trader Joe's near me. I got online and requested to receive the mailings, and I haven't gotten any yet. So I don't know if I will. Maybe they realize I don't have any near me, and there's no reason for them to send me one. But like I said, I haven't gotten one yet. Anyway, I love this calendar paper. It's like a desk calendar or something that was included in one of the flow books. And this is an envelope made from coffee filter, coffee-dyed coffee filter. And I just glued it on there and put a couple pieces in here. This is a piece of upholstery sample. One of those swaps included several samples, and it's fuzzy. And I love this little trailer. So there's several of those in here, 2 or 3 anyway. So I'll try not to take too long. There's another piece of the embossed cardstock, and it's so pretty. It just looks pretty in that window. But behind it are some papers that I can actually use to write on. Old map paper and fuel log. This is really, and I used a paperclip, light bulb paperclip out of my stash. I think Jill made these. I'm not sure. Maybe it was Susan, but I like it that it has the map on there, and then there's lines on the back for writing on. Now, this is parchment paper, apparently, and I had never used parchment paper in a junk journal. I have used tracing paper, and I did not realize that you can't glue things to parchment paper. And I didn't even pay attention. I just thought it was tracing paper, I guess. And I tried and tried and tried to glue stuff, and no matter what glue I used, it would not stick. And then I saw a YouTube video that had parchment paper in it, and she said, nothing will stick to parchment paper because that's what it's made for, to keep things from sticking. So there's little bits of glue here where I had tried to glue things. I really wanted this giraffe on this paper. He's coming undone. How come he's even coming unstitched? I stitched him down, but this side is coming all unstitched. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so this is stitched on. This bicycle is glued onto that paper, but the rest of it is floating free. But that's okay, it works. And I just loved the parchment paper was coffee dyed, and I loved the crinkliness of it. She had folded it up to form a pocket, which is stitched. So I love the paper, but you just have to sew things to it, I guess. I really don't know why that's all coming undone. It's like the parchment paper is rejecting everything I do to it. Here's a calendar page that I added from my stash because I wanted a larger page. This is corrugated. This is also embossed, and the person who made it colored it in. And this was just something I had experimented with, stitching muslin to a piece of cardstock, cardboard actually, thin chipboard. And then I decided to stick it in this pocket, and since it has a tree on it, I used this little stamp with the tree swing, and I used to have a tree swing when I was growing up. So I stamped "A life without dreams would be just a life." Thought that was good for a childhood activity. Shorthand book. Calendar page. There's a piece of that upholstery fabric. Little teeny tiny playing cards. This was from my stash too. And I glued on some scraps of lined paper. Someone sent me several pieces of this chocolate wrapper. I'm not sure. Oh, it's from Germany. And I love that, so I put that on. I love this little Cuties Mandarin Oranges pocket, and this is a Korean Bible page. And so I just stuck these things inside the pocket. Here's one of, and I put a fabric washi tape down the center of the Bible because it wouldn't have been able to be stitched in without tearing. Here's a piece of that Trader Joe's advertisement. And Nancy's Chicago Pizza menu. So I glued things to journal on each of the sections. Someone made this book out of a very vintage, or pocket out of a very vintage book page. I thought the guest check was appropriate for putting on the menu. And there's one of the chocolate wrappers glued on as a pocket. This was really fun to do, and it didn't take very long. Someone sent me a zoo advertisement, a little pamphlet of the zoo, and I loved using the images. That's where the giraffe came from, and the zebra, and the monkey. And Jill made this, and she sent me several of these longer strips with little tiny hearts that are just stitched down the middle, and they're on this nice, kind of like a brown wrapping paper, but it's thin. It's not as heavy as the rolls you buy to wrap packages in, but I really liked those, so I used a couple of them in here. Another embossed piece. I put a alterations tag in there. I used stickers. I received a lot of stickers in those swaps, so I used some of them here. Someone sent me this little teeny tiny calendar from 2007, and I think I used every page in this just as an embellishment. Here's a pocket that someone stitched. And I had also gotten some of these black triangles, so I just glued scraps of lined paper and then attached these little Kool-Aid dyed tags. And it goes in the pocket. Now, I think it was Jill sent me pieces of paper towel. These were part of the Flowish book in very, very pretty colors because she used them like to clean up spills, or not spills, but you know, when you're painting and stuff, you have paper towels handy and they take on the colors. Well, she laughed at me because as I was doing the video, I said I didn't know what kind of paper they were, but it was really neat and the colors were so pretty. And she laughed and said they're just paper towels. So I had to put some of them in the book. So you'll see various incarnations. This is a ruffle made out of one of those paper towels stitched down. And I used a butterfly paper clip to attach that pretty butterfly. Isn't that paper pretty? Here's a second signature. I used some of the things from Julie Mangold's box that she sent me, and this is one of them. And there's another piece of the upholstery fabric with one of those little campers. Little stickers made out, they look like butterflies, but they're made out of flowers. Wallpaper envelope and a little kitty card inside. Piece of, I'm not sure, it's not tissue paper. There's another one of the Trader Joe ads, and I had a little butterfly die cut that someone sent, so I put that in his hair. I'm sure he'll be pleased. And this is from the pressed flower stickers, and I just stapled that to the top of that. Some tags. Here's another piece of the paper toweling. It's gathered up. It's a strip that I gathered up, and then I just formed it into a loop and stitched it in there. Library card. Catalog card. It's another piece of the calendar that I put in there. I love this bag that's made from the Applebee's basket liners. Here's one of the longer strips that Jill made with the hearts on it. I stitched this little piece that says memo onto that upholstery piece. Someone gave me some die cut film strips, I think that was Lee, and I put some lined paper behind it. Oh, that's glued on. A scripture verse someone sent me, and it's stapled to that. There's another piece of the paper towel. There's some cards inside. This is a wallpaper envelope. There's another piece of the paper towel. I folded it so that it's 4 layers thick, and then I zigzag stitched all around it and then stitched it on as a pocket, or glued it on as a pocket, because it's on this Bible page that I don't dare stitch to. Looks like I need to put some washi tape on there because it's got a tear. And then she also, she made a lot with the little hearts on the, see, here's some more. I just love these. But this one is just a simple little strip of paper with some foiling on it. And it's zigzagged onto this paper, whatever this paper is. And it's really a really nice embellishment. There's one of the heart strips. There's another paper towel strip. Someone sent me this from a magazine, and I glued it to some lined paper. This is just a strip from this paper that I like, and so I just stitched it on there. I love this button paper too. There's the other piece of that. I zigzag stitched down the center and then just stapled it up there. This is a piece of embossed card that I rubbed some blue distress ink on. This has stickers on the calendar. And there it is. So thank you so much for those who sent me all of these wonderful items that I used in this fun little junk journal.